microphones are up. Sorry. All right, does everybody have a worksheet? Everybody's got out a sheet of paper?
Yes, sir.
All right, so now it says at the top of this worksheet, we are solving rational equations. So what are rational equations? Basically just fractions, right? We're going to solve equations that have fractions in them. So we're going to skip number 1 for right now. Everybody go ahead and let's look at number 2. Now once again, I did not leave you much room. If you're going to write on this sheet, write very small. I'm quite certain everybody did these last year, even Coach White's class.
Is this the warm-up?
We're not having a warm-up today. No warm-up today. All right, so here's what you want to do, guys. The first step on every one of these problems is you want to get rid of the fractions. Look at your 3 numbers on the bottom. We got to find the common denominator. What's the common denominator? 6. What number, very good, what number will all 3 of these divide into? Now somebody's probably thinking 2 or 3. That's not true. It's got to be big enough so that the biggest number divides into it. So our common denominator is 6. So I want you to write 6, 6, and 6.
Where is this at? Oh, never mind.
Any question there? All right, watch this next step. Now we do the crossing out step. You cross out or you simplify the numbers that are on the bottom of the fractions, okay? 6 cancels out 6, right? So you just bring down what's left on top. You bring down x squared. All right, second fraction. How many times will 3 go into 6? All right, whatever's left over, you've got to times them together. 2 times x is 2x. All right, last fraction. How many times will 2 go into 6? 3 times 1 is 3. So I got equals 3. Move it over here, make it a minus 3 equals 0. All right, so can I do quadratic formula on this problem?
Yes.
Yep, how do you know?
It has
You got x squared. So y'all do quadratic formula or factor it and get both answers. Go. All right, so if you factor this out, it's clearly 3 times 1. I got positive 3 and negative 1 for my answers. So we should be really good on the quadratic formula, or if you factor it, I factored this one. Any question?
Wait.
Okay. Next one we're going to do is number 3. Y'all can go ahead and do number 3 just like we did number 2. Got it? All right, let's go to number 3. I'll give y'all a chance to write it down. So once again, you look at the bottom number on each fraction, and you want to find the common denominator. So what's a number that 6 and 2 divide into? Be 6. So once again, we've got 6, 6, 6. All right, let's go through our crossing out step. Guys, is there a number on the bottom on the first fraction? No, there's not a number on that one, so you cannot cross anything out there. Just times 6 times r squared, and you get 6r squared. All right, how about the second fraction? What cancels out? What do I bring down?
17r.
Good. All right, last fraction. What cancels out? 2 goes into 6. How many times? 3 times 1 is 3. Move it over, makes it a minus 3 equals 0. All right, do your quadratic formula. You got that one. So the first couple weren't.
Where you get your numbers from off the top?
The 12x, 12x, 12x. Let me show you. I look at these two first, and I say, okay, what's the number that both of these can divide into? Well, since 4 goes into 12, but 12 won't go into 4. Does that make sense? It's got to be 12x. Now just add an x with it. All right, so here we go. Look, the x's cancel out. Y'all agree? 2 times 12 is 24. How many times 4 go to 12? So So look, you got 3x times 1 is 3x. Last fraction, cancel the 12s out, bring down 11x. All right, so now you look at what you've got. Will this problem be a problem we can do quadratic formula on? Nope. Why not? No x squares. So when it's like this, you just do your like terms together. Okay? These two have x's, so I'm going to take 3x and move it over there. That gives me 8x equals 24, so x equals 3. And Alicia, I think that's what you had?
Yep.
How'd you do it without working it out?
So basically, I just took 11, 12 minus 1/4.
Oh,
and you
okay.
get
Gotcha.
2 over 3.
Gotcha. All right, any question on number 1? All right, we're going to do number 9. Basically the same way we just did number 1. Let's go to number 9. You can write it down next. All right, look at the bottom of every fraction on number 9, and it's pretty easy to see what our common denominator is going to be on this one. It's just going to be x. We only got one x on the bottom. So x times x times x, or x, and x. All right, this is messed up on a lot every year. You guys watch. I have kids that do this every year. They mark those x's out. What's wrong with that?
It's x
You
squared.
can only cancel it out, that's right, if something's on the bottom of the fraction. So you can't cancel that out because they're on top, it's on top. So what you do instead, x times x, you bring down x squared. All right, same thing over here, 5x. Now these two x's you can cancel out because it was on the bottom. You just bring down plus 6. I'm going to go ahead and move that over.
-6.
Yeah, make it a -6 equals 0. All right, y'all do your quadratic formula now, or factor it out, either way. All right, so I thought I did number 10. You guys try number 10. I think it's just like number 9, isn't it?
Yeah.
Let's do 10. All right, so we got to figure out the common denominator on number 6. So, look at the 3 numbers on the bottom, Samar. You see them? All right, I got a 5, I got a 15, and I got a 3. Can we think of one number that all 3 of them will divide into? 15. And most of the time, guys, it's just the bigger number out of those 3, most of the time. So I'm going to put 15 here, here, and here. Bless you.
Thank you.
All right, ready? All right, here we go. All right, how many times will 5 go into 15? So what you have to do is distribute your 3 and then bring down what you get. So 3 times 2 is 6x. 3 times 1 is plus 3. Does that make sense? If so, go ahead and finish it. Do both the others. Same way we did that one. All right, 15s cancel out, right? So if it cancels, I can just bring down 2 plus 7x. I don't have to times it by anything. 3 goes into 15 5 times. What do I bring down? 2 times 5 is 10. So that wasn't that bad. All right, so can we do quadratic formula on this one? No, we cannot. Why not?
Because you
Doesn't have an x squared, so what do I have to do instead? Just combine like terms. All right, I'm going to take this 7x and move it over here. It'll be 6x minus 7x. It'll be 12 minus 3. Finish it from there, see what you get. Always check to see if you can factor out something that's an x squared. Guys, if this bottom right here was x squared minus 9, that's a difference of squares. You could do x plus 3 and x minus 3. What if it was x squared minus 16? Yeah, we could do that one too. But is 3 a perfect square?
No.
Nope, so you cannot factor that bottom. But you have to check for that first. All right, so new step. Since we've got plus signs and minus signs, our rules change. I just want you now to use everything that's on the bottom one time each. So my common denominator is going to be x squared minus 3 and x plus 4. And I write that above each fraction. All right, so again, the rules change when you have plus signs and minus signs on the bottom. You just write everything one time each. All right, first fraction. What cancels out? Good. What do you do with what's left over? Same thing, you distribute. So x times x is x squared, x times 4 is 4x. All right, second fraction, what cancels? X plus 4. What do I bring down after I distribute? Let's see, it'll be 5x squared minus 15. Everybody understand what we did? All right, I got to show you something. Don't write this down, so let me show you. All right, we've got an x squared in our problem, so we're going to have to do quadratic formula. So we got to get everything on one side. So watch. If I take 5 and move it over, that's going to make it a negative 5, right? That gives me negative 4x squared plus 4x. Move that over is positive 15. Okay, I have never given y'all a problem this year where your x squared had a negative in the front. I don't like doing that. I think it gives you more room to make an error. So what I would do from here, I would change every sign. I would make that 4x squared minus 4x minus 15. Y'all follow that? All right, so now I'm going to erase this. Let's go back up to where we started right here. So you can eliminate that issue. So Ashland, you don't want to move the 5x squared over here because I know it's going to give me a negative. I'm going to take 1x squared and move it over there. That gives me positive 4x squared minus 4x minus 15 equals 0. So either do it all the way out and then change all the signs, or just look ahead and move this over here so you'll have a positive 4 in front of that first number. But I don't want y'all to have a negative. You can still work it out, but it's a lot easier to mess up. All right, so y'all do quadratic formula. You're done with this one. So 11 is a little different. Let's see if we need to do 12. Yeah, let's do 12. 12 is going to be our next one. Go to 12. Find your common denominators. See if you do the common denominator step first. All right, so remember, we said the rules have changed now. So what you do is look at the bottom, and since we got plus signs and minus signs, we just use everything on the bottom one time each. Well, look, they got a minus 1. It's on the bottom twice. So when you go and do your common denominator, you just write it one time above everything. Does anybody have a question about that? You don't use it twice. Even if it's written twice, you just write it one time. All right, help me out. What cancels out on the first fraction? A minus 1. All you can do now is bring down a. That was pretty easy. Does anything cancel down here on the second fraction? No, because you don't have anything on the bottom. So this means you got to distribute before you bring down. So a times a is a squared minus 1a. And these mark out and you bring down 4a minus 3. All right, we've got an a squared in our problem. You're going to have to do quadratic formula. I want y'all to move everything to the left side of the equal sign. All right, so again, if you have plus signs or minus signs on the bottom of your fraction, the rules change. To find your common denominator now, just use everything that's on the bottom one time each. So I got to use x and I got to use x minus 1. Got to use them both. X and x minus 1. X and x minus 1. Anybody have a question about that? Some of y'all are still struggling with that. It's got a plus sign or a minus sign on the bottom. I think the whole right column does. You got to do it this way. All right, y'all go through your cross out process. See what you bring down. All right, watch me. You're stuck. X minus 1's cancel, right? So whatever's left over, you got times them together. So I'm just bringing down 1x. On the second fraction, the x's cancel. Whatever's left over, you got to multiply them. So I got to distribute right here. 2 times x is 2x. 2 times negative 1 is minus 2. Now on the right side of the equal sign, if you have a 0 and you've got to multiply by 0, that's just going to be 0. Not 1, it's just 0. All right, now, will we do quadratic formula on this one? Nope, I don't have an x squared, so just do your like terms. Add these two up, I got 3x. Divide it, my answer is 2/3. All right, so that was a short. Lydia, if you can go through 7. You guys can stop on 17. I'm going to say 18, 19, 20 for later. But right now, if you know what you're doing, go and go through 17. You should know enough for that. I'm going to show a couple more before we take a bathroom break. Let y'all wake up a little bit. All right, let's go to 16. Make sure you guys are numbering these problems for me as you write them on your own paper. That way I don't have to guess. All right, we're going to do 16 next. Good. When you got pluses and minuses, they're not exactly the same, so you got to use one of each. So our common denominator is going to be 3x minus 2 and 3x plus 2. I'm going to write that above each fraction. 3x minus 2, 3x plus 2. 3x minus 2, 3x plus 2. All right, that's the first step. Understand you got to write everything on the bottom. You got to use it one time each for your common denominator. All right, this is actually the longest problem you'll have this week. All right, what's next? Well, what can we cross out? I can cross out the 3x minus 2. Whatever's left over, I got to distribute. So what am I going to get when I do 4x times 3x? It's 12x squared. Good. Write it down. 4x times 2 is 8x. All right, I showed you the first fraction. You should be able to do the second fraction. Go. So some of y'all are in a daze today. So we mark out 3x plus 2. Whatever's left, we got to distribute. 2 times 3, I got 6x squared. 2 times 2, I got minus 4x. We good? All right, last step. Look right here. Last fraction. Guys, there's nothing on the bottom of this fraction, right? That means you cannot cross anything out. Watch how I do this one. I got 3 numbers to times. First, you got to distribute here. That'll give you 6x minus 4. You only distribute the first one, not both of them. Now, bring down the last one, and we're going to have to fold that out before I can bring it down. So distribute 2 with the first one, bring it down. When you bring down the second parenthesis, now you fold them out. 6 times 3 is 18x squared. 6 times 2 is 12x. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12x minus 8. All right, write all that down. We'll do 16 and 17, then we'll stop at bathroom day. All right, look, when I add these two up, 12 plus 6 is 18x squared. Add these two up, I got positive 4x. All right, look on the right side of the equal sign. Plus 12 and minus 12 are going to cancel out. I got 18x squared minus 8. All right, before you do quadratic formula, we got to set it up, get everything on one side. What's going to happen with this 18x squared when I move it over here? Put it with this one.
They're gonna cancel out.
Going to cancel out. Very good. So we got 4x equals negative 8, so my answer is just negative 2. So again, that is the longest problem you will have on this page. Appreciate it. All right, so we'll do 17, then we'll take a bathroom break. All right, I got to write 17 down. You guys go ahead and start on it.